Hi there. So here we are. Gotta get my phone out. Gotta get a drink because it is one hot here, and two, I'm parched. No tea tonight yet though, because it's still early in the day, and I actually almost got a beer. But I'm just gonna grab my Pepsi for right now. We're gonna talk about Scream Factory announcements. We're gonna talk about some of the Marvel Hall H stuff, and I actually even got a little kind of yard sale haul for 'em, which should be fun. Hey, Javid, welcome. Ryan, if you watch this, I'm going to be emailing you back either later on this evening or early this morning. He's had a really, really rough day, and in a good way though. Hey, Scotter. So, Scream Factory made their announcements, and at first I wasn't sure. No, I was sure. I mean, like I just didn't know, in all honesty, uh, exactly how epic it was, and it turned out to be way more epic than I thought initially. I had been wanting to see Friday the 13th box set be announced. Obviously, with the lawsuit that's going on right now, uh, that that's in my you were that was something strong within my imagination that cannot happen, and honestly, they couldn't do it. So let's look at their announcements. We'll break them down. I'll tell you the ones that I'm excited about. By the way, Sculder, My Bloody Valentine. You know the way that's going to be best? If they get in contact with me, the guy that lives right next to Valentine's Bluff, because I can drive over there and take some footage of the way it looks right now, which I think would look awesome. Hey, Livins, would be an awesome addition to their Scream Factory My Bloody Valentine. Let them know on Twitter. Hey, Henry. So let's get to it. I'm going to read them out. There's a few of them. This is one of their bigger announcements ever, like movie-wise, with the amount of movies. You guys let me know which ones you're excited about. I'll tell you which ones excite me. Road games. I guess our Australian friends won't be too excited about road games because they've already got it from the Umbrella release. It'll depend, I guess, on if there's a new transfer. All right, so we'll start off with the Hammer one, and that is the Abominable Snowman, the first Hammer one. Now, the Abominable Snowman is one that I know my dad, if he doesn't have it already, and I don't know if he does or not, on Blu-ray. This was a movie that he liked a lot when he was younger, so it's an early Hammer one, but it's a pretty cool one. I think it's Peter Cushing. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I've seen the Abominable Snowman, guys. I don't think it's Anton Diffring. I thought it was Peter Cushing. I could be wrong. Okay, so the second Hammer one is one I don't have, and that I'm most excited about Hammer-wise, and that is Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. Now, I have a slight history with Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. It was one of the first Hammer movies that I ever saw. It came on CBC late night, and that's how I became like a huge Ralph Bates fan, and definitely I was a huge Martin Beswick fan. Speaking of fan, next up is the classic film The Fan. So, I haven't seen this one in years. Oh man, reach for free player. This is the time. And thank you. Thanks, Mark. I wasn't sure. You got to have some abominable snowmen in your life. Uh, I do. I live like maybe 5 or 6 minutes drive away from. It's the place itself. Well, Valentine's Bluff in the movie. It's actually Sydney Mines, and I live in North Sydney in Nova Scotia. So one of the big things for me about coming here, by the way, and this is no word of a lie. Around 2 years ago, my better half got a job here in North Sydney, a pretty good job, which Phyllis, we had to move. One of the things that sold me on moving to this area was the fact that My Bloody Valentine was shot here, and I've actually drove several times through the town, and we almost bought a house there actually before we moved out here. All right. So next up is Big Trouble in Little China. Now I got the Arrow of this one. So I don't know what can like really intrigue me to get another edition of Big Trouble in Little China. I mean, you'd have to put some nice features on there. This is a favorite of my better halves. Like seriously, she's a huge fan of this film. When it came in, when they do the digital film festival every year at Cineplex, we actually went to it, and I actually bought like passes so we could go and see whatever movies we wanted to. I don't know if they've said yet, man. But as soon as I find out, I will let you know. Next up is Road Games, which you guys already mentioned. And again, it's a fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, it's a really good little thriller by Richard Franklin, who would go on to do Psycho 2. And of course, he did Patrick as well. So stars Stacy Keach and Jamie Lee Curtis. See, I wasn't blown away at first, but I think Blue Corner, and I think the problem is, Scalder knows it, that I had certain expectations, and those expectations weren't met, and I think it might have like jaded me a bit on it. Hey, Mike, welcome. But I think when you really look through it and you look over it again, there's some really solid titles here, some stuff that people have been wanting to put in their collection for a while. So it is one of their better, I think anyway, for me, it's one of their better announcements that they've had in quite a while. The Omen set was, we get the Omen set. That's awesome. We got a set. There's another set here that I wasn't aware of actually. So My Bloody Valentine is next. I think everybody is pretty excited with that one. Of course, you'll all be more excited if I film some footage in Sydney Mines and it gets onto the Blu-ray. That would be the best way. I think so. But did not blow you away. Afterwards, I'll let you guys know which ones I'm excited about. Next up is the Fly collection. So I guess I can finally upgrade from my MGM that I got from there. So I'm hoping it's something different. There's going to be some more features on it because there wasn't a lot of features on the Fly collection. What they should really do, I'm not sure how many people like collect the Fly movies or stuff like that. But if you want like do a live air show and like, oh, you mean like down in City Mines? It'd be hard because I have to get the internet working on that. But I will be doing like Hey Brian, welcome, dude. What do you think of the announcements, man? Hey Skinsip, hey, long time, man. There's some pretty exciting stuff here. Some stuff too worth talking about. So the Fly collection, I'm hoping, because when the Fly collection came out from MGM, one of the things that was missing on it was a really good documentary on the Fly collection. It just didn't exist. There was like some Vincent Price stuff on there, and there's some other kind of seemed like placeholder stuff. So eventually, The Fly 2, with Eric Stoltz, remember that one? That came out. And it came out with a 2-disc special edition. And if you bought that edition, then there was a featurette on it. It was fairly long too, which went through the entire Fly franchise, every single one of the films, from like the first one and right on up, And I always thought that belonged on the Fly set. So I'm hoping that Scream Factory has the rights to that. Hey, let's talk movies. Because if you got the Fly 2 like special edition with Eric Stoltz, you know what I'm talking about, that documentary I'd love to see it on there. Exactly. Yeah, it is. It's one cool documentary, and it belongs on the Fly collection. So fingers crossed that'll be on there. All right, next up we got, what is this right here? It's so tiny on my phone. Oh, wow, okay. This is one I didn't see last night. Silver Bullet. Now, as you guys know, I'm Canadian, which will come through with the accent for sure. Silver Bullet is a big one for me. I love werewolf movies. I got that from my dad. My dad is a werewolf aficionado. Silver Bullet is the werewolf movie from my childhood. And I was completely in love with Megan Follows, Anna Green Gables, as was almost everybody where I live. So it's got Corey Haim in this one as well. Really, really kind of looking forward to this. What's my favorite werewolf movie? Oh, that's a good question. See, a lot of people will say The Howling. Some people are going to say like American Werewolf in London. My favorite werewolf movie. I really like ginger snaps. Silver Bullet. Yeah, actually, yes. Silver Bullet is probably my favorite war film. Um, it's got it's got the guy from from Twin Peaks, as the preacher. Oh, Dog Soldiers is fantastic. I'm still like upset that we didn't get that here in Canada, like you guys got in the U.S. from Scream Factory. We didn't get it here. It was only for the U.S. Okay, next up is The Prophecy, which is a cool little quirky kind of eco horror film, which I do recommend checking out. It's a very fun kind of it's a '70s film, but I think it's Brooke Adams. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I've seen The Prophecy, guys. I do apologize, but it is a good one, and it's one you're going to want to have in your collection. I think. I'm not sure if they make it a collector's edition or not. Right on, but it'll definitely need some good. It is, but isn't it a fun bonkers? See, Brian, The Prophecy, there, that's something I can talk about. There's potential. There's, I did the Incubus. There's potential with things like Prophecy. Now, Pet Cemetery 2, which actually isn't a bad sequel. Clancy Brown is definitely cool in it. So definitely interested in it. Actually, there's not much here I'm not interested in, to be honest with you guys. Next up is the Universal Horror Volume 3. I don't have Volumes 1 and 2. I know Brian has them. So we got Tower of London, that's Vincent Price, right? The Black Cat, Man-Made Monster. Back in the day, Man-Made Monster was one of those that you'd find. It was one of those cheapies you find like on like all the cheap labels, all the like the legacies and stuff like that. And Horror Island. I got a question to ask you guys after. I was at a flea market. I saw a couple movies there. The pricing was a bit iffy, but I want your guys' opinion on it because I didn't pick them up. Body Parts with Jeff Fahey. So that hopefully that's uncut. If that's uncut, yeah, for sure. Next up is one, and I'm not going to lie, this is the one that excited me. You have to understand, born in the 70s, teenager in the 80s, Dracula. John Badham's Dracula, starring Frank Langella, starring everybody, Laurence Olivier, Donald Pleasance, is my Dracula film. I'm not old enough like my dad to have seen Christopher Lee in the theater, or young enough like Skin Slip. You just went up like 2 cool points to like truly be into the Martin Scorsese one, which is good. But John Badham's Dracula with Frank Langella, that's my Dracula. That's the one that I remember like going to the theater to see, and it works so well. I think a lot of people that later got to see it on VHS and stuff like that really didn't get the Technicolor theater. Oh yeah, because that's what I got. I got the DVD with the muted colors on it. The Definitive Dracula's movie of the 70s. For me, it was fantastic. It's one of my favorite, it's my favorite theater Dracula movie that I ever saw. And my favorite TV vampire film is actually one called Vampire, starring Richard Lynch, which probably nobody but me is going to remember. VHS was the last. I don't have that one either. I think so. The last time I saw it on VHS, it was like a long freaking time ago, like a long time ago. But I'm super excited with this. I hope to get some good features on here. I want like a commentary, some featurettes. I like to get a making of on John Badham's one because I want to know more behind the scenes. There's some almost kind of like day to night shots in that film. There's one where he's on horseback. Skin Slip, remember it? Where it's almost it's not quite day, but it's not night either. And at the time, some people were bothered by that. That, and he didn't have the fangs, but neither did Bela Lugosi. That was a later thing. Frank Langella's Dracula is very much like the stage presence Dracula. But the good thing about it is Frank Langella is one of those actors that he has that presence. If you don't, and he can do it. Now, last but not least is Let's Scare Jessica to Death. Now, Let's Scare Jessica to Death is a movie that creatures, exactly. He made his own. That's what he did. He made his own. And he made a more romantic Dracula. Let's Scare Jessica to Death is one I love. It's a VHS like oddity of mine that I watch like for all the time on VHS. I don't think I've ever seen it on DVD. I don't think it's had a Blu-ray before. If it has, I don't know. But Let's Scare Jessica. This is a really fun film, and if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth checking out. It's a solid list. I mean, aside from already having Big Trouble in Little China, and not buying in yet to the Universal horror collections. They haven't really had any kind of like big features on it that's appealed to me. If there's features on those Universal horror sets, I don't know about them. But I haven't dove into those very well. So yeah, but everything else is pretty much something that I want on my shelf. The Fly collection is really going to depend on the features. If the features are good on the Fly collection, yes, I'm definitely going to want the Fly collection. But as far as like all the solo titles, everything but Big Trouble in Little China, which I already got, it would need to be, for me, it needs more than a new remaster because I like the Arrow like master of the film. So it's got to have some features, some different features on it. But Abominable Snowman, Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, Road Games, My Bloody Valentine, The Fan, Silver Bullet, Prophecy, Pet Cemetery 2, excuse me, Body Parts, Dracula, and Let's Scare Jessica to Death are all films that I'm extremely excited about and that I know that I really want to own and have in my collection. There's nothing here that I'd be disappointed, like, even like, say, like Big Trouble in Little China. I'm not disappointed by Big Trouble in Little China. I'm glad it's here in North America. So there's really nothing here nothing seems like a placeholder. Nothing seems like it's just there to keep things going along. Everything seems like in one way or another, it's important to some demographic. I remember when Arrow came out with like they started doing a bunch of like trauma films at one point. That was a few years back, guys. And I was like really disappointed because he like hyped up the announcements Arrow did, and then he got there and it was like Surf Ninjas Messiah and stuff like that. But this is solid. This is definitely quality announcements, definitely well done, and kudos to their acquisition team, which I think Cliff McMillan is one of the guys for that does the acquisitions. Kudos to Cliff and whoever else is on the acquisition team for putting together an impressive and eclectic mix of films. You got stuff there for your Hammer people. You got stuff for monster people. You got stuff for like the bonker stuff. You got stuff for people that like thrillers, people that like slasher films. If you like the classics, there's something for you there. Yeah, there's a little bit. This one has a little bit for everybody. Now, there were some announcements made about Shout Select as well. The only one I remember that stood out for me is like, I gotta get this movie, is Marilyn Monroe's Don't Bother to Knock, which I'll tell you guys right now, that's my favorite. Like that one and Niagara, those are my two favorite Marilyn Monroe films. Don't Bother to Knock is the best acting Marilyn Monroe ever did, in my opinion. She gets to play a different character than she normally plays. So if you've never seen Don't Bother to Knock, definitely that's the one from Shout Select that stands out. I can't remember what the rest of them are, but Don't Bother to Knock is a good one. It's a bit of a thriller. So it's a tamer thriller. It's done a long time ago, but it's pretty good. And Marilyn Monroe does a good job in the role as well. Now, other announcements, other crazy fun announcements. Something Like It Hot is a good one. But see, for me, Some Like It Hot is like a Tony Curtis, like Jack. But Don't Bother to Knock is that's Marilyn Monroe. Like what did I think of the? Let me open up my this here now because I couldn't open it up before, but I'm going to open it up now. I think they casted Blade well, if that's the question. It is the best choice, in my opinion, for Wesley Snipes had his time. I think he did a great job in obviously he did a great job in playing Blade. Nobody's ever going to deny that. Oh, the prophecy, you got to have that, man. But I think Rish Ali is an excellent choice, and he was one of the he was on my short list of names, like for like who I wanted to play the character Blade. I didn't think he would because, well, obviously because of Luke Cage, right? Because he played Cottonmouth. Uh, that being said, aside from the character of Luke Cage, Cottonmouth is hands down the most interesting character in the series Luke Cage. And when he meets his demise, uh, the interest in the show kind of went down for me. I think you got your era, of Wesley Snipes, right? Like he did his trilogy, and then for people that watched the TV series, there was like the Sticky Fingers had it for a short period of time. So it's not like Ali is coming right after Wesley Snipes. No, this has been years. The Wesley Snipes films are back in the '90s. Then there was the TV series. I think that was on Spike TV. I think it was on Spike TV. It only lasted a season, and now we're going to get like the big budget Blade movie again, and with the Marvel team behind it, I'm expecting a lot of good stuff. I like the fact that we're finally getting the Mandarin, like the real Mandarin, and it makes sense that the Mandarin is coming in Shang-Chi. I know, it's awesome, man. Because for people that don't that never read Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, that was one of my favorite comics. I liked a lot of the martial arts comics that came out in the '70s when I was growing up. Uh, PG-13. It doesn't have to be an R because the way I see it is PG-13 makes them think harder. You can cheat with an R. You can cut corners. You can put some blood somewhere. You can do some other stuff. Like go back and watch the last Blade movie, for instance. That's really bad. Blade Trinity is not a good film, in my opinion. I didn't like it very much. It's got Ryan Reynolds, but still not a great film. Blade I liked a lot. Blade 2 also. Blade 3 no. A lot of it actually. Rated Blu-ray. See, yeah, perfect. But because they know they can get an R like cut of it afterwards. They can Deadpool it up a bit. So yeah, so basically the original origin of Shang-Chi was it's not something you could do nowadays. I don't know. I think Ali would definitely be able to do any type of martial arts that needs to be done in there. Because the original origin of Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, is that his dad is. Does anybody know who Shang-Chi's dad is? In the original like comic books? Like I'm gonna let somebody see, cause yeah, cause it's gonna be a little hard. It was Fu Manchu. Shang-Chi's dad in the original comic books, in the 1970s comic books, was Fu Manchu, which obviously epitomizes, unfortunately, the evil Oriental character that was, more kosher to do back then, I guess, if you want to put it that way. And that, and the fact that this Fu Manchu is a character by Sax Rohmer. Yeah, by Sax Rohmer. So they'd have to get the rights from Rohmer's estate to use that character again. I think in the comics, because I haven't read the newer comics. Donnie Yen. I thought, who is Tony Leung playing then? Because I thought it was Tony Leung. I'm sorry for pronouncing that wrong. Because I thought he was playing the role, or was he playing someone else? Because the announcer who played Fu Manchu too, I just can't remember his name right now. And Thor: Love and Thunder was announced with directed by Taiki Waititi, and it's going to do the storyline that I think we eventually thought they were going to do, which is going to have Thor, which Chris Hemsworth, but it's also going to have Thor, which is Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman. I thought my better half would be super excited because female Thor and all that, but she doesn't like Natalie Portman. I spoke with Jay and Silent Bob yesterday, to be fair, uh, and but I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do with that. I kind of hope they don't go the way they did. Like I do, I want them to do a bit of what they did in the comic. But did anybody read the Thor comic? Like, does anybody read these comics? Because the female Thor, Jane Foster, she becomes Thor for a while in comic, like for quite a while actually. But the thing in the comic Thor, three people, is that she's dying of cancer, and she's pretty weak, and she's in the bed, and like she can't, but she's only healthy when she's Thor. So it's actually a really really good storyline. But I don't want, let's see, Natalie Portman sick in the comic. I want her just to be kick-ass Thor. And ever since Natalie Portman was cast, it shouldn't. If Warlock, can I be honest with you? I'll be blunt with you. Anybody that's pushed away from seeing Thor because Natalie Portman, who plays Jane Foster, is Thor in the film, was also Thor in the comic book, doesn't deserve to see a good Marvel movie, whether it be Thor or Fantastic Four, which was announced, or Captain Marvel or whatever. They don't deserve it. Who does deserve it? The people that like watching these films and the comic book readers and stuff like that. Of course it's not. Why is it dumb, Livens? Like, seriously. You don't read Thor. I'm gonna. Okay. Let me break this down to you. Thor hasn't just been a woman. Okay? Thor hasn't just been a woman. Thor has, there's been many Thors. There's been a frog that's a Thor. Okay. So, when we were both kids, yeah, exactly. Thor's a frog. When we were both kids, Thor 1 wasn't the best written comic in the world. Yes, Beta Ray Bill, actually. Space Horse. And yes, they're all called Thor. They've all been different Thors. There's even a Thor that had a different outfit. But Jane Foster's character of Thor is Thor. So the only way it splits the fandom is, and I will totally say this, I'll be blunt with you, it gets rid of the bad part of the fandom that's going to be upset anyway. How can they not be? Livens, think about it this way, Livens. They're not making Natalie Portman Thor because, hey, let's make Thor a woman. Thunderstrike, Eric Masters is one of my favorites, actually. Well, if you don't want to see the comics being adapted, this is the comics. This is the Thor character. There's nothing political about it. It disturbs me, Warlock. It does. I mean, that's probably, I'm reaching a bit, but still, I mean, this isn't like these. Oh, let's make her Thor because it's Natalie Portman, or because we want to make a female Thor. No, they made a female Thor in the comics a long time ago. This is one of the best Thor comic storylines that's been done in a long time. B movie archive. This is one of in the comics. This is one of the best Thor storylines that's came around in a long time. So let's put it this way, and I'm going to be blunt. I want them to make the good comic storylines in the films. For me, the Jane Foster's Thor storyline was one of the best, and it's one of the best written. I appreciate it, not just as a fan of comics or Thor like that, but as a writer. The, certain people want it split. Thank you, B Movie Archives. There's no just because. That's the thing. You're taking it like, you know, like it's a front by making a character, but it's a stretch. I mean, to be upset about Thor is a real stretch because we're not talking about a character that's been male or throughout the entire time or anything like that. We're talking about a mystical character in a comic book that has been a horse, that has been a frog, that has been a bunch of different things. And if you're not cool with a character that in the comic being in the movie, it's not the movie's fault. It's not the comic's fault. You got to think, you got to ask yourself why. Ask yourself why it bothers you. If it doesn't interest you, that's one thing. If you don't like the storyline, if you read the comic and you don't like the storyline, that's one thing. However, if the reason you're not seeing it is just because Natalie Portman's Thor, ask yourself why. Why does that bother you? It shouldn't. Just don't think it should. And no, you're not bad or wrong for not liking it. It's just a difference of opinion. But yeah. But no, I'm actually very excited about it because I actually watch. Why? Why is it any different for me saying, being excited about it, and then you coming out and saying, well, that's being divisive, and me saying, well, why is it being divisive? Why is it being so bad? What's really so wrong with it? Why does it bother you so much? Obviously, it's bothering you. I'm actually just excited because it's a comic book storyline that I like being made into a film. But that is the character of Thor. If you've read the character of Thor, that's the character. If you follow the comic books, that's what happens in the comics. That's part of the comic books. That's the character. For 3 movies, it's just been Chris Hemsworth. There's been no frogs, no Beta Ray Bill. But she isn't, though. She is Thor. That's the thing. She is Thor. Go back and read the comics. It's the Mighty Thor. It's one of the best Marvel comics out around that period. And this is from somebody that saw it, looked at it, and said, I'm not going to like this. There's people that aren't going to see it, but the people that give it a chance especially with the director that it's got, the creative team behind it, there's going to be more people happy than not. But yeah, let's get away from this. The fact is, like it or not, they're adapting the comic book, The Mighty Thor, in the next comic. He's still in it. You do understand that Chris Hemsworth is still in it, right? That that he's still like Thor character. It's just in the comic something happens. Like I won't tell you what, in case you haven't read it, that he's not worthy to wield the hammer. It shouldn't though. The fact that a character gender change causes so much upset and like ruffles so many feathers in 2019 is really, really disturbing. Yeah, that's true. It kind of bothers me. And I try not to vilify, but I did just then because, to be quite honest, some of the comments like got me upset. And that's not what I wanted to do with this stream. I wanted to talk about all the stuff that I was excited about on here. Exactly. He doesn't have the hammer. He's got doesn't he have Stormbreaker now? Some people are upset about that actually. Because because Stormbreaker, well, sort of. Didn't Captain America wield the hammer like in the last film? Yeah, exactly. Beta Ray Bill's hammer. People are upset that Thor is using Beta Ray Bill's hammer. Hopefully, not only will we see Jane Foster as Thor, but in the future, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm kind of hyped about seeing Beta Ray Bill in the films. That I Here's the thing, Warlock. No disrespect at all, but when I'm on here, I will give you my honest opinion. And sometimes you're going to agree with me, and sometimes you're not going to agree with me. But I'm not gonna. I'm not. I don't really sugarcoat it. I tell you what I think, and that's because I respect people enough to. So if they don't like it, they can call me on it, and that's cool. But it doesn't change my thoughts on it. See you later, Decathlon. Well, that's our talk on the Thor portion of this. Um, Something I was very excited about. Just saying. And all I have to say is, yeah, but Spider-Man. Actually, I would like to see that movie. Actually, the, hopefully you guys will see what it is and like it for what it is. Like all I'm saying is, give it a shot. Give it a shot. You don't know. We know we've seen her hold the hammer, but we don't know exactly what's going on in the storyline. It's there. So let's leave it at that. Let's say until it comes out. Well, there's a Batwoman. She's got her TV show, and I'm really looking forward to that actually, because that should be hopefully a bit more kick-ass than some of the later CW stuff has been. Because yeah, they're gonna need something with Arrow going off the air. Oh yeah, like it. Oh, oh yeah, Jane Foster's not replacing Thor, right? no, that's just a storyline. Uh, it basically, Chris Hemsworth's still gonna be Thor, but for this film here, for at least a portion of it, Jane Foster's gonna be Thor too. Okay, enough of that because it's people are going in and out with this type of stuff, and it's just getting silly. We're just going back and forth about the same point. I can't make a beat. DC TV shows. Bloodwork is going to be the villain for Flash for the first half of the season. Of course, they haven't announced who's going to be the villain for the second half. I think that was on purpose because I think it's going to be. If it's not, because we're going to be getting into. Oh, so both going to be awesome. Because we're going to be getting into the Crisis on Infinite Earths storyline. So I don't think anybody. I mean, I don't think we're going to get another Iron Man for a while. I mean, we might have like characters that are similar to Iron Man, but they're going to keep Iron Man back in their pocket for ways to come. I mean, like in the comic book, there was an Iron Man character for a little period of time, but she wasn't very popular, and honestly, she wasn't very good. Like in the storyline, I read that storyline, and it didn't transition well, but she wasn't written well. It was a kid actually. It was kind of a kid. Do I think Namor will be announced soon? I think we might get a Namor. We won't see anything exactly. We said at War Machine. We won't see any more of Namor, any of Namor. I don't think until maybe the Fantastic Four film. I think we might get some Namor, or at least we're going to get hint of Namor. If Namor's not in the Fantastic Four film, I'm going to guess he's 9 tenths out of 10. He's an after credit sequence. But they can still use War Machine because War Machine's he's okay when he's in the armor, and he's gotten better. But Iron Man can't be. Well, he's dead. I'm sorry if anybody hasn't seen Infinity War at this point. But you think be introduced in Black Panther? Ooh, intriguing. I never thought about that. I really didn't. Oh, I would love to see a good Fantastic Four film. When I was on here a couple days ago, I said to you guys, and I called this. I said, if I was Marvel, if I was in charge, and if I was doing it, and I had Fantastic Four, and I had the X-Men, and I had to think about, okay, which one am I going to use first? That's going to set stuff up. True, but they could always recast. I guess they've recast them already once, right? And he's in an armor, so that's okay. A good Galactus too, yeah. But I said, do Fantastic Four first because there's just so many characters you can take out of it. Like obviously X Men has its almost too many characters, but Fantastic Four, aside from it being a really great comic book, and a really bad comic book, depending on who wrote it, but has some solid like villains that could be villains that could like take on the entire Marvel universe. You got Doctor Doom. You've got Galactus. As in and the good side, we got Silver Surfer. You've got Mole Man. Thing was done good in all the films. I mean, John Byrne's run is my favorite run of Fantastic Four. I think, yeah. I think John Byrne's my favorite run of Fantastic Four. I like the She-Hulk too, which I don't see them putting into the movies. Unfortunately, I'm a big She-Hulk fan. I used to read the comics growing up, and I remember when she was in Fantastic Four. I remember for like 2 issues, in the '90s when they're trying to make everything all edgy and stuff like that. They did like Fantastic Four, but it wasn't any of the Fantastic. I think Thing was that maybe no. It was She-Hulk, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man, and somebody else. It was a ridiculous idea, and it only lasted for like 2 issues. It was like to get in people because Ghost Rider was everywhere at that point. It was really popular. Yes, I do. I have part of the Walt Simonson run upstairs. It's a fantastic run on Thor. Did a great job. Wolverine, thank you. That's the fourth person, Wolverine. But for me, and again, that's one of the characters. I don't want to get back to like the Thor thing too much, but Thor is one of those up and down characters, like comic wise, which has been okay. and solid storylines for Thor for me have been few and far between. Um, but the ones that stand out really stand out. That's right though. Shoot. Now Doctor Strange. Let's talk Doctor Strange for a second, right? Oh, I like Danny Ketch. I'm a real big fan of Danny Ketch. Doctor Strange is getting the first, well, as Marvel are calling it, the first scary movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this is the closest to horror that you're going to get so far for from Marvel, and it's interesting that Doctor Strange, well, it makes sense that Doctor Strange is being the character that's getting the more horrific run. So it'd be interesting to see what they do. Are we going to, are they going to get like really? Are we talking? If they're saying like, what's it called, madness of the multiverse, right? And I think it's something like that. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I get stuff wrong all the time, guys. Um, but I'm thinking maybe the Nightmare for as a villain for the new Doctor Strange film. If they're going to go in like really horror territories, tying the blade, yeah, exactly. Like there's a few ways that they can do it. There's there was a lot of cool announcements in the last 24 hours. Multiverse of Madness, thanks. Obviously, that's like a kind of a twist on H.P. Lovecraft, which is interesting to see them do that because you never been in. Doctor Strange is one of those characters. He's not. He doesn't have the easiest like buy-in, but once you can get into him, like once you find your story, um, I find like there like Thor. I find Thor the same way. Uh, they can be characters that can be hit or miss. Like you can either come into a run and like really like it, or you can totally hate it and then find somebody else writing it and just like really groove on their story. Man, I'm so old. Really groove. But yeah, it's too late. I mean, like Marisha Ali is a good choice. I mean, the dude's won an Oscar. That's and he isn't one of those guys that like okay won an Oscar and then he did like Catwoman. Uh, no, he's done a lot of really good stuff. Obviously, he was in Marvel Universe before as Cottonmouth. It would be nice to see like Wesley Snipes maybe have a role in the film though. The Darkhold. I don't watch Agents of Shield now. Warlock. I've got to get back into it. You didn't like him in True Detective? I haven't seen all that season yet. I got to watch it. I really liked him as Cottonmouth. That was awesome. I mean, like he was the best part of Luke Cage. He was definitely the best part of Luke Cage. That's aside from Luke Cage, because that guy looked like he just walked out of a comic book, and it was Chris Christopherson was awesome in Blade. He was the perfect choice. Uh, you couldn't go wrong with that. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go. Like who's going to be that character now? Marisha Ali. I'm not sure how old he is, but he's my only thing for him originally was I thought, is he too old for the character of Blade? But then I thought, this is a vampire we're talking about here. Well, Agents, it's kind of canceled. It's going till the seventh season, I think, but it's ending on its seventh season. So it's going. It's one of those very few shows that's going to go out on its own terms. So that's always cool. That's always a good thing. Oh, thank God. On the Disconnected Universe Joker film, it looks really good. It reminds me of what they did with a movie called King of Comedy. I'm not sure if Brian's still here or not, but there's a movie called King of Comedy, which is something I was a really big fan of, Scorsese film, and it has a lot of. If you've never seen that film and like watch it, and then look at the Joker trailer, there's a lot of King of Comedy in the Joker trailer that I've seen to the point where one of the character, one of the main characters, a king of comedy, uh, almost looks like he's in the Joker film, just with another name, but played by the same actor, Robert De Niro. Um, I'm very excited about that, to be honest with you. Yeah, and that's what I see it as. That's what I see it. It's a more adult film, and this Joker is definitely not the one that's out there for. It's not for the kiddies, and that's okay because there are lots of like films out there for the kiddies. Um, but this Joker movie is definitely not that. It is from what I can tell, and obviously I haven't seen the script or the film or anything like that. Oh, then he's pretty good. 45 is not bad. Um, then it's this is an exploration of madness, which a any like Joker film really should be. And but that's like totally lost my train of thought. I will say one thing, and I do want to say this because I'm thinking if I offended anybody earlier on in this video with anything that I said over with my exuberance and excitement, I am definitely sorry. I don't mean that. I did not mean that. Uh, so do not take that personally. Or just want to say that there. I think maybe they need a little bit of disconnection right now, a little bit directionlessness, until somebody can come in and really take it, really take a good hold of it. They gave it to Zack Snyder, and here's the thing: I like Zack Snyder's work. I was a pretty decent fan of Zack Snyder. I liked Dawn of the Dead. I liked Watchmen. I didn't like what. Oh yeah, that's the thing. We can all have difference of opinions. Um, I did take it a bit far, so I was wrong in doing that. Um, but and debating is one of the most fun things in the world. Uh, but my God, I lost my train of thought. Until we got someone like really good doing it, exactly, Javed. And I did cross that line. Warlock and Livens were offended by what I said, and that wasn't right, especially in a channel that prides itself on being a safe space, no matter what your thoughts are. So when I do something like that, which hopefully is going to be rare, please call me out on that because I need that. I need that slap in the face of humility sometimes. Everybody does. No, but still, what I say, should, giving my opinion, should not be an opinion where, like, okay, tramples on somebody else's thoughts or feelings. Well, I know you're not going to be offended. I know you know. But but no, I want to get that out of the way because uh, sometimes I get really excited about stuff, especially when it comes to comic books and stuff like that, which is an early love of mine. I always get that. That's good. I'm glad because you're a valuable member of the channel. Um, but oh, what anyway? What I was saying before, no, I don't think Zack Snyder was the right choice, especially for Superman. I really don't. And I didn't mind Man of Steel at all when I watched it. But it's a film that, in my opinion, like you guys can tell me what your thoughts on of it are. I fought people when Man of Steel came out, like to defend it. Uh, on subsequent rewatches, uh, oh, that yeah, politics don't, in this channel, I try to keep it out there, man. Um, I can be political elsewhere. That doesn't matter. That's okay. Uh, but the was oh god, I'm trying to get this out now. Yeah, Man of Steel doesn't work on subsequent rewatches. Every time I go and watch it again, there's less. There's less that I like about it, and there's more flaws I see in it. It's not one of those films where I see it. Oh, I enjoy something else, or I find something else that I like about it. I think he would have been good. I just think that Zack Snyder wrote it bad. Did Zack Snyder write it, or whoever wrote it? Zack Snyder definitely was a director, had a lot of say in it. I'm not sure who wrote the film, but it didn't work, man. It doesn't work on like it works if you're in the theater and you watch it, that thing. It's kind of fun, but if you're like watching it over again, the flaws are there, and every film has flaws, but this one just seems to stand out. Or maybe it's just me because I'm a big Superman freak. That it could just be me, but that's what I felt. And so when I watched it over again, unlike when I watch the old Superman movies, they mostly stand the test of time. Yes, my blood time is. I think eventually what we're going to get there with the uh, is that we're going to get superhero fatigue. I and we're starting to get there. When they announce these movies, and we haven't seen any of them yet, obviously, and the TV shows because they announced some Disney Plus TV shows as well. Like we already announced, but you get to see a little bit more of it. But I don't see at this point any connecting narrative. Like in the first wave, like stuff, you kind of you I'd have to look actually. I don't know. I'd have Thanos was there. Like we knew Thanos like pretty early on was coming. Well, first we knew the Avengers. We knew the Avengers were being made, and we knew that Thanos. Then we knew Thanos was coming in. Good question actually. But with this new with the new batch, I don't really see the connection. They're very different. The only thing I can possibly see is maybe this wave like is going to have one either going to have shorter arcs or we're going into a mystical direction. And if it's going into a mystical direction, like with stuff like Shang Chi and Doctor Strange and the Eternals and stuff like that, then then Fantastic Four coming out, I would hazard that it's going to be Doctor Doom because he's a character that's steeped in science and mysticism. I don't know either, to be honest with you. I got it here. I got a steelbook of Sucker Puncher somewhere. I got it for like really, really cheap. But I think I bought it at Best Buy and it was like $3 or something like that. I don't know the TV news. I said, Livens, I was going to look at something called Dark Materials, and I apologize because somebody asked me to look at Dark Materials, and I did not check it out yet. I was just like, after I did my video yesterday, and I did 3 videos in like in a space of like 24 hours, and that was me. That was kind of a marathon thing for me to do. I haven't seen that yet. People keep talking about it. I got that movie. I did not know that was Zack Snyder. I think we got it on 3D actually. I think we bought it right after we bought our 3D television set. We still have that. He probably did. See, I'll be honest. You guys, in some, here's the thing. This is why this is a movie club and not a classroom because I learn as much from you guys as you do when you come on here. We're all on equal footing here. I'm just a person whose voice you get here. That's all. But we directed. I don't. You know, I got the movie. Can I be honest with you? I don't know if I watched it. We got like 3 or 4 like 3D movies at that time. We bought like the sampler pack too, with the TV. It came with the TV. I think it had Yogi Bear in it and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm going off track again, ain't I? I'm trying to think of any other announcements that came out. Can anybody think of any other announcement, any other big announcements? Because I can't really think of any right now. Like from there. Well. We're thinking up announcements. What I will say is, I picked up some stuff yesterday at a yard sale, and I picked up one thing at a flea market. Top Gun Maverick. Isn't it weird how Top Gun Maverick's trailer looks so much like Top Gun? Uh, I know it's supposed to like elicit a feeling of nostalgia, but there's nostalgia, and there's pretty much filming the exact same thing over again. Uh, It'll be interesting to see Edward Furlong back as John Connor. Obviously, Terminator 2 was one of those films for me. I remember seeing it in theater. I was pumped. I went and saw it like 3 or 4 times. I was a really big Terminator 2 fan, guys. It's my favorite out of the franchise. I love the first one as a horror film. I think of Terminator as almost like a kind of a slasher film. Uh, It'll be interesting to see how it goes. No, actually, John Carpenter's vampire wasn't there, but John Badham's vampire was. John Badham's Dracula. Yep, 2 more Halloween films. I called it, Mug. I told you before. I called it. So we got, and I'm getting more. I'm really liking the titles a bit more. Uh, Halloween Kills, which yeah, Halloween Kills Tommy is coming in 2020, and Halloween Ends. Halloween Begins Again. Halloween Redux. Halloween. You thought it was over. But no, what I think we're getting here is we're going to get a storyline that's going to complete the Strode portion of Halloween. Uh, so I truly expect Jamie Lee Curtis to be dead at the end of Halloween Ends. Her character, not Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, and Michael Myers to be thought dead, because Halloween has to end for the Strodes somehow, and the only way it can end is either everybody dies and they don't do any more Halloween movies. That's not likely. Or I think, who was it? Actually, we watched the movie. It's a channel. They're real big Halloween fans. Uh, I disagree with them on the Scream TV series, but they actually do some really good videos on Halloween. And one of the things he said was that his idea was that resurrection again. Was that and I think this is a really brilliant idea. So I'm giving we watched the movie credit before I say this, because it's not me saying it. Basically, Michael and Laurie fight, and it looks like they're both. Laurie's dead. Looks like they're both dead. Michael disappears, gets away, and they know, and they don't tell the other Strodes about it, because they know he's done what he needed to do, and they don't want them to live their life, the rest of their life, the way that Laurie Strode had to live her life. So for them, Halloween Ends. That was in a recent. We watched a movie video, which I do recommend you check out. Great channel, and they're very big Halloween fans. And I thought one of them actually used that plot line as like what he thought would be a good idea, and I thought it was brilliant. I wish I thought it up, but I didn't. But no, it'll be interesting to see. But in 20 and 21, we're going to get the films. I know that we got Danny McBride coming back. Oh no, man, because so much good stuff came out, dude. And but there's another writer coming on as well to help write the next two films. Return of Black Christmas. It's too late, Tommy. I'll be honest with you. Do I ever do? It's too late for Halloween to come to do the anthology route, but that doesn't mean that it can't be done like with another one. Yeah, and that's the thing. They've made a big deal about aging Myers in the newer films. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go with it, because they have aged Myers. Myers isn't young anymore. Uh, they could have started this next Halloween film. Excuse me, burpee. After anywhere in the timeline, in other words, just to make they could have started over, just to make him younger. Yeah, so maybe after the next three, maybe they reboot it again. Maybe they'll find a way to make Michael Myers young. Maybe they'll find a way. Maybe they'll finally go over that step, and he won't just be a boogeyman. Like, he will literally be some, maybe not an undead creature, but like some type of supernatural aspect that we find out that's keeping him alive, without explaining it too much and taking this the fear out of it, because that's what it does when you over explain a character like Michael Myers, is that you end up taking the scares out of it. And like, obviously, I've told you guys before, I'm not a fan of the Rob Zombie films, but I do understand the appeal of them. It's just not. It's just not. It's just not for me. And a lot of that is probably one, I'm older, and crankier. Oh, Silver Bullet's gonna be awesome, man. I can't wait to see what features you get for that one. But yes, some of the hipper like horror films may not work on me as well as they do somebody that's a bit younger. That's the honest truth. I'm not gonna lie about it and pretend no no. But the Rob Zombie Halloween films just didn't work for me. They weren't my bag, baby. Uh, I think he really loves Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Uh, I do think that, like, look at what's been done with Texas Chainsaw Massacre over the years. Um, can't they just give Rob Zombie the chance to do a Texas Chainsaw film? Like, in all honesty, in all seriousness, of any, like, if any franchise you could see, like, if say you're like me and you don't like his stuff with Halloween, can you not see him doing a really good job with Texas Chainsaw? Yeah, that's the thing. I think he's a perfect fit. Hey Ken, how's it going, man? Um, and I think he was turned down before, right? This is how we got the Firefly family. Um, but I think he should. I mean, I think that they should let him do it. I think it's a good Hills Have Eyes movie. He definitely could. I think I think Aja did the best job of Hills Have Eyes. But I really think Rob Zombie understands the twisted, demented backwoods family better than anybody else, and that's part of his personal history, and he'd be the first person to say that. House of a Thousand Corpses, I've read places, Ash, that was originally, like, part of that was supposed to be, like, was his idea for a film. Delayed for now. Alice Sweet Alice is delayed, hasn't been pulled. Uh, so my favorite one is one that you guys wouldn't expect, or maybe some of you would, but it's actually Lords of Salem. But I do love Devil's Rejects. Keep it going. I mean, like, here's the thing. The way I see it, when it comes to sequels or continuations of films and all that type of stuff, If your friends like don't like Star Wars, for instance, or they think that it's run its course, or they think this certain period of Star Wars films are good, that's fantastic, right? Those films are for them. That period is perfect. They got it. Like they can pretend if they want to that any other Star Wars films that's coming out, uh, yeah, doesn't exist. Uh, don't have to see them, don't have to watch them, and they still have their perfect films. They can say, no, that's stricken from my mind canon. I'm sorry. Like some, if you don't, I like The Last Jedi. I personally did, but I do understand a lot of the problems with that film, and I do understand why a lot of people didn't like it. I'm the type of person that when I go in to watch something, a lot of these films, I can for a lot of these action sci-fi films, I can be pretty easy to please. I'll be honest with you. If I have a good time and I enjoy myself, uh, they can get kind of silly. They can get kind of, you know, I'm not that invested that it really bothers me. And I understand. I mean, like I do think that and see, perfect. That was right there. You guys said it perfect right there. Return of the Jedi got the perfect ending for you. And none of these other movies are ever going to change Return of the Jedi's perfect ending for you. You saw them. It came at the perfect time for you. You enjoyed the hell out of those films. You don't have to watch the other ones, and you still got your perfect films. And if people go on and watch the other ones, I mean, they could make 27 crappy Star Wars films right back to back. But you know what? I already got my three amazing Star Wars films. Anyway, for me, for my time period. Exactly. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. That's the thing, guys. And when people say, "Oh, not another one of these," or "Not make another one of those sequels," it's okay. You can, and this is the way to take it from now on. When you get upset that there's another movie that's being remade, or there's another film that's having a sequel that you really don't think is necessary, remember this: your head canon can do anything that you want it to do, and it's a brilliant. That's brilliant. Yeah, I saw Star Wars in the theater around three times when I was a kid, and I saw a re-release actually of it. About, I think it was a year or two. It was maybe a year or two afterwards. 'Cause they did a re-release in the theater, and because I remember, because when we were going in the door, they they had like these Kenner like action figure little catalogs that they gave all of us. And as a kid, I was like super excited. Now my friend at the time, Clark, he saw Star Wars in the theater seven times, like in a row. We used to go out in the like on recess, and we get like some sticks, and we would just we we would like we would lightsaber battle. It was. I mean, I loved the Star Wars films growing up. Uh, I agree. I mean, 2049 is a perfect ending for Blade Runner. Are they doing another one? I mean, if there's a good story, maybe. But lightsabers, yeah. If there's a good story, maybe. But I kind of think that I was really nervous about there actually being a Blade Runner sequel. My head canon stopped with Blade Runner, for instance. Uh, but I really did like the sequel. I don't think it was as epic as a lot of people like, in my opinion, as some people thought it was. But I thought it was good. I didn't think the score was as good. I did see Blade Runner cinema too. I'm of that age. I mean, like Jaws, Blade Runner, E.T., Conan the Barbarian, the all the Indiana Jones films. Those were all like theater things for me. It's okay, dude. Actually, do you know what the announcements are, by the way? Like, cause I grew up in the. Let me go grab something. I'll be right back. Because I want to be able to keep reading your comments on my phone And because I was out all day today, my phone is on 2%. And I need to plug it in so I can keep reading. And I need to get another Pepsi. I'll be right back. Because we got some interesting stuff to talk about. Andy, we'll go over the announcements again because I'm excited. And remember, guys, your head cannon, it's the key thing. Woohoo. All right. Psycho. Holy crap. Helps if it does this. All right. Let me try and move this over a bit. R-rated terminators. See if I missed anything. So, for Indian, anybody that's just coming late, I'm just gonna run through really quickly the Scream Factory announcements for people that are excited or people that are wondering exactly what's going on. As you guys talk about all the other cool stuff. We have Hammer's The Bumble Snowman with Peter Cushing, Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde with Ralph Bates and Martine Beswick, the 1970s 79 movie The Fan, The Fly Collection, Prophecy, super excited about that movie, Universal Horror Collection Volume 3, John Badham's Dracula, super excited about that one, Big Trouble in Little China, I've already got, but if you're in North America, you don't own the Arrow edition, it's a good one. My Bloody Valentine, Richard Franklin's Road Games, Silver Bullet, Pet Sematary 2, Body Parts, hopefully uncut. That's the one with Jeff Fahey, you guys. And of course, the last but definitely not least, is Let's Scare Jessica to Death. So some really good stuff there coming. So hopefully that helps, Andy. Do you know one of my best horror movie experiences? They are working on another RoboCop. It's an R-rated one too. I heard Warlock, which is good because I am of the thing that RoboCop definitely deserves a good R. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. I'm excited about the Prophecy and John Badham's Dracula. Those are two that excite me. One of my best horror experiences wasn't in the theater, it was on TV. I got to give Vice Squad. I'm not sure I'll get it on first day, Christopher, but I definitely want to pick it up. The Fan will be a fun one to get. Was Halloween. I remember watching Halloween when it premiered on television, like the TV experience of Halloween, and it was scary. For some people that hadn't seen Halloween in the theater and that had saw Halloween on TV, for instance, there were different sequences in the film. There's a TV edit of the film with other scenes. So some people, when they got to see Halloween for the first time on VHS or on DVD, whichever they saw it in, probably in VHS if they were my age, were kind of upset because they're like, wait a second, this isn't how I remember Halloween. There's a lot of stuff missing here. And it wasn't until Anchor Bay put out the both editions of it on VHS, when they put out that big black box set with the two orange VHS, that people got to see both cuts of the film. again. I think that's the first time. But yeah, that was one of the scary times for me. That and seeing Clown Murders on CBC late at night when I was a kid. If you don't know Clown Murders, you're probably not Canadian. That's probably why, and you're not my age. But that was one that scared me when I was a kid. It didn't have a lot of. Looking back on it later, I must have imagined a lot because there wasn't a lot scary in the film. But there is this one scene in Clown Murders that it is. I'm not sure if anybody's ever seen it. If you have, let me know. Where basically they're going into this barn, and there's a shot that's done, and it follows like kind of up, goes up into the rafters of the barn, and we see like the clown masked uh, character like looking down upon them, looming down upon these characters. Really, really creepy. Oh yeah, Creep Show. It's being done by Greg Nicotero, and it is 12 episodes for the first season. Shudder is premiering it in September. It's going to be starting its run in September. There's at least, I think, one script done by Joe Hill. There's at least one Stephen King adaptation as well, I think. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes. Obviously, with Nicotero beyond the effects, you're going to get some really good effects on there, and the Creep looks really, really cool. They've shown the Creep as well, so definitely check that out online. It's going to be on Shudder. If you don't have Shudder yet, if it's in your area to get Shudder, I definitely recommend it. My first cinema experience, because I did see that practical effects. You know it's got to be practical effects from Nicotero, Andy. My first theater experience, I don't. It was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think, at a drive-in with somebody that wanted to see it and took me. I was too young to really understand it, to be honest with you. Yeah, like they could let him play like one of the other characters. I like to see Peter Weller in it. I hope he's in it, isn't he? I heard he was going to be in it. Oh, I'm trying to catch up on stuff that I missed here. Trailer for The Matrix. Seeing Bulletin. What is like? They kind of started it. VPN. That's the way to go with it. I think we're going to have to wait on Friday the 13th until they actually fix the what's going on right now. And the we're not going to see any Friday 13th coming out on DVD or Blu-ray or 4K until that lawsuit is settled. I have no doubt that Scream Factory has definitely had feelers out for Friday the 13th before all this happened. I have no doubt at all that Jason Blum is probably biting, at the heels. Hey, Brian, of doing a Friday 13th film, but he's waiting. Oh, Tommy, basically, the way it works is after so many years for a film, the writer of the film can sue for intellectual property. And that time period has passed for Friday the 13th. So the writer of Friday the 13th, Victor Miller, by the way, I'm excited about Blade, is, I know I heard about Alice being, it shouldn't be too long, but hopefully it's being delayed for more features or at least a better transfer. So that's what I'm hoping for. So Victor Miller and Shaughnessy Cunningham are fighting for the rights of Friday the 13th. Now, in the first court case, they already had one court case. Victor Miller won the rights of Friday the 13th, but it was unclear. It was pretty clear that he did not win the rights to. Wesley Snipes had his time. He's done it. I'm sure he would probably have part in the movie. Maybe in Chris Christopherson's part. But I think so. basically, Victor Miller won the rights to Friday the 13th, the film, but he didn't have the rights to Jason Voorhees and anything that came from 2 onwards. That's then Seamus Cunningham appealed, and now we got another court case going on right now, basically to on the appeal. And if I'll give you my quick opinion on it, is Victor Miller did write the first Friday the 13th film. He should be getting some payback for the popularity of that. That being said, Victor Miller did almost zilch to the what made the Friday the 13th franchise popular in the first place. He had he wrote, aside from reverse writing Psycho and putting in some extra deaths, he didn't really have a lot to do with it. Ron Mars wrote Friday the 13th Part 2 and Part 3. And he actually helped out. I think he may have even helped out with the first one. But I know he wrote Parts 2 and 3. I think Comic Con is almost over, isn't it? Because I think most of the big announcements are done. But so, if anybody at all deserves any money, or any rights to these characters, it would have been, I don't know if he's still around, but Ron Murs. It would be him, because right now you got Victor Miller, who didn't write Jason except for a little sequence at the end of the film, and Seamus Cunningham, who 100% doesn't give a crap about Jason, aside from the fact that he can make money off of it. So you have 2 people that really either have nothing to do with Jason. No, actually, no. You got 2 people that really have nothing to do with the character of Jason Voorhees and Friday the 13th, the franchise, aside from being involved in Part 1. Steve Miner and Ron Kurz have so much more to do with Friday the 13th franchise than Victor Miller does, than Seamus Cunningham does. And why? Frank Mancuso has more to do with the success of the films, in my opinion. Because Victor Miller, basically, what did he do? And you watch an interview with Victor Miller, he will tell you that he was told to write a movie with the name Friday the 13th. He went in, he saw Psycho, and he said, hell, but if I reverse that, and the mother's killing, and the kid is dead. That was his idea. He and a bunch of other people, including Seamus Cunningham, were kind of upset that Jason was being brought back by the studio in the second one. Even Tom Savini didn't come back for the second one because they thought it wasn't going to work. It's not a good idea. Jason's dead. So according to them, for years, this is, these sequels, they're inferior. This isn't Friday the 13th. What we did, that was Friday the 13th. This Jason thing, that's a fad. That's not going to catch on. It caught on. It caught on and it did really well. So now they want money. And that's what it comes down to. 2 people that really don't care a lot about the franchise, both want money, and they're holding the franchise hostage. And that is just my opinion on the... Talk to you later on it. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I'm being all controversial today. But no, I think that's a fair assessment. I think if you actually read about the people behind the films, they just really didn't. I got to catch up on all your guys' comments and all the questions you asked that I missed when I was saying that. I think that works best in the comic. But I didn't like Freddy versus Jason very much, but I was a big Hodder fan, and I just think it didn't work that well. I didn't. I apologize. I was actually saying that on here. Thanks, Devin. That I felt guilty because I haven't seen Dark Materials yet. Skinstep here. I also said he was really excited about Dark Materials. I got to check that out. I'm sorry. I will. I do promise. I will check it out before the next video comes on. You can chastise me for that. I got to see what I got to catch up here with you guys. Hey there, Weldon. You know what? Interesting collector's edition for Scream Factory. Blue Steel. I actually spoke with Blue Steel on my last video. I'm a big fan of that film. Jamie Lee Curtis, Ron Silvers, I think. Ron Silver? I think it's Ron Silver. It's been a long time. But you know another one that I think would be kind of a cool release as well that kind of gives me a feel of that. And I don't think it's been put out on Blu-ray yet. You guys can let me know. Is that, oh, thanks, Livins. Is that Pacific Heights. Do you guys remember Pacific Heights? With Michael Keaton? I was a big fan of that film. I would love to see Scream Factory put out Pacific Heights with a collector's edition, preferably with lots of Michael Keaton on it. I'm a huge Michael Keaton fan. It's such a fun film, right? And unlike like a lot of the thrillers, like a lot of what happens in Pacific Heights, a lot of that stuff has happened, and it can happen, especially the skills. I promise, man. I promise. Oh, Arrow, either one of them, man. Yep. That's the thing. When you see Keaton, I would like to see more roles like that. Arlington Crescent, yeah. Unlawful Entry, yes. Like those are some great choices for releases. Arlington Crescent, is it Crescent? Arlington Crescent. I know. I think I know the movie you're talking about. But like, yeah, like those are all prime releases. Arlington Road. Thank you. Club Paradise. I think. Well, Club Paradise is more. I think that'd be a Shout Factory, no, not a Shout Select release. You might see that come out there one of these days. Uh, I would love to see the new Batman Beyond film. I'd kill for something like that. Night Flyers. Night Flyers should be is one. Night Flyers is something I do expect Scream Factory to release. Lakeview Terrace. That's the one. There you go. Somebody knows their movies. I don't think they'd release it now because of the controversy behind the actor. Uh, but it's a movie that I like. I hate bringing up, especially today, I hate bringing up things, especially actors that do have a lot of controversy behind them that are nice people. But there's a Kevin Spacey film uh, with Kevin Kline, and I got it on Blu-ray here too, like on a Mill Creek Blu-ray. God, what was it again? Do you guys remember the name of it? Yeah, I think they casted bad with it. I can't remember the name of the movie, but basically, what happens in the film is that there's these two couples, and they're kind of like vacationing, kind of side by side each other, and Kevin Kline and Kevin Spacey start talking. No, not K-Pax. And they agree to consenting adults. Thank you, Indy. Exactly, that's consenting adults. They agree to swap spouses, and what happens? What really happens is brilliant. I think it's brilliant anyway. Uh, Obviously, it's not something they put out nowadays, but cheat in the middle of the night, exactly. Uh, it was a good idea, and damn you, Spacey, for being such a jerk, because you just screwed it for me for getting a really good release of that. I guess I'm going to have to do with my Mill Creek release. Uh, but uh, but yeah, I was a big fan of that film. It's still I think it still stands up. I got to watch it again. I might watch it tonight actually because it's a really cool film. Going through a lot of Pepsi tonight, guys. If I got to suddenly run to the washroom, that's because I've over Pepsi'd myself. There's this period in like in the late '90s, around in the '90s, early 2000s, really, mostly in the '90s, really, that they had this series of films that like these thrillers and amazing. There are so many lost films, man. Amazingly good thrillers that came. Some just went straight to VHS, and I remember seeing so many. Like for some of the films, like the stuff like the Night Eyes and a lot of them that had people like Kane McClure, if you remember that girl, or like Shannon Worry, or Shannon Tweed. They were those Vinegar Syndrome is probably our best bet. Like, if you've ever seen any of that stuff coming out. Pepsi overdose. The Hitcher's one expected. I was guessing the Hitcher before they made their announcement last night. Pepsi Max. I was guessing the Hitcher, but unfortunately, oh, nice. Are you going to be doing video, Andy? Are you videoing that stuff? Oh my God, yes, Animal Instincts films. The first Animal Instincts, and ready. That's Maxwell Caulfield, right? Sorry, what's the question? Uh, a new company. I don't know. Is there any more companies coming out? I mean, the market is pretty glutted right now for boutique labels. Uh, right now, they're having to fight over stuff and make deals, and companies are putting out stuff, and other companies are putting out as well. UK, US, that type of thing. There's so many of them out there right now. But if a company was to come out, if somebody was to make a company right now, if anybody right here had the money, the bones, basically, to come out to do their own thing, right? Let me know, dude, when you do it, and let everybody know, because we will pimp that video out, because that's gonna be massive. The best way to go about it at this point, I think, is start getting the rights to those like straight to DVD action films, like the Cynthia Rothrocks and stuff like that, and the Richard Nortons and the Skinamax straight thrillers and Shannon Worry, stuff like that. Okay, I gotta see that. That went way too fast on my screen, dude. Uh, I know it's a bit Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That part I did say. Do I think an R-rated Ninja Turtles would work? I don't actually. I see where you're coming from. Like do it more like the comics. I think the Ninja Turtles, like, even though they're definitely more violent and do lean more adult in the early comics, especially the Mirage comics, I do think that the Ninja Turtles is too much in the mainstream, like, younger audience zeitgeist right now to go back with them. Um, and, like, I mean, the original Turtle film was kind of fun, go ninja, go ninja. Uh, but yeah, that it could work as a cartoon. Like, say for instance, Spawn. Remember Spawn? Like, they did this PG-13 movie, and then they made like a HBO, like, strong R-rated TV series, like cartoon series, for Spawn. I could see, like, if they wanted to do like a hard R, like, Turtles thing, to do almost like a short, like, series, or like an animated miniseries, that type of thing. Having memories. Let me guess. Is it of the Violator in cheerleading outfit? Because that's my nightmare fuel from that film. Like, I've got the Spawn series on somewhere on a steelbook that was, they brought a steelbook out of it. But yeah, I think if we're going to get any live action Turtles type stuff, like I think it should orient more towards the kids, even if like it does maybe alienate some of their original fan base. But I do think that they could probably do something in like an HBO Spawn animated type of vein to appease people that would like the other aspect of it as well. Faust. Actually, I don't have that film. Uh, didn't Arrow put that out at one point? Because that's part of the Fantastic Factory like series of films that were put out. Because you had like, and they only, and when Arrow did they only did four in the box set, but there was like Faust, there was Beyond Reanimator, that was another one. There's a dog one too. It's not in the set, but I remember there being like this one with Lance Henriksen. Uh, yeah, like the box set only has four of them. There's more. There's more from the Fantastic Factory. Um, no, Ramen. Yeah, that's the exactly. What I want CGI turtles. I like the last Turtle series that came out. Arachnid's the fourth one in the set, yeah. But there are more after that. Like that they only got rights to four of the films, but there are more films that came out from that company. And I'm pretty sure one of them is like this, like as Lance Henriksen and as this like dog in it, like I was a cybernetic dog. Yeah, I can't remember right now. I apologize. I'm old school hand drawn animation, but if you can do like really good stuff with CGI, like they did with the Green Lantern TV series, definitely. That being said, I didn't see the Green Lantern series until it ended because of the CGI. I thought it wasn't going to be any good, and then I watched it after the series had ended, uh, and it was bloody brilliant. Hey, movie madness, welcome, dude. You came in at 102 minutes in, but you got here. Um, oh God, yes, I've got stuff. I keep forgetting this. All right, not a lot, but there's a couple interesting things that I picked up for like really really good prices. So I'm a huge fan. First to do the TV stuff here first. Let's be really quick with this one. So I picked up the freaky thing is the boxes are not in best condition, but apparently they bought the boxes and they did like yard sales like two or three times in a row, and they've never actually watched them. So needless to say, they were in mint condition. They were. So Law and Order Special Victims Unit. I grabbed the first season of that, and the second season of that, and the third season of that, and the fourth season, and the 12th. Um, I paid less than $1 each, so I think that was a pretty good score. And not with those other movies. It's a really good show, actually. It's one of the few shows that I actually well tune in and watch. It can be a bit dark at times, though, but they have some great guest stars. I have like the Blu-ray this, but I don't. It's just a regular, the Steelbook Blu-ray. So I saw this box set and I had to grab this. So, hey, Vinny, man, welcome, dude. I was wondering where you were. So I picked up this for actually super cheap. And this is the Gone with the Wind set. And apparently, because back in the day, Viz Comedic ruled a lot and people bought a lot of copies. So this is number 65,221 of a limited 150,000. So just open it up real quick. And it's actually really cool. There's like a bunch of like letters and books and art cards and everything in there. And I'll one of these days I'll actually do a video and we'll go into it. But I'm just showing you what I got here today. Then today I went to a flea market. I just grabbed one movie, but it's one that I grabbed for a specific purpose for the month of December. Dude, it's a really nice set, man. I didn't know how nice it was, actually. I don't have the Ben-Hur or the Lawrence Arabia one, but I heard those are awesome. They look awesome. I've seen them. Santa with muscles. My better half laughed her ass off me at me when I bought this film, and I said, I have a YouTube channel. Christmas is coming up. I'm thinking ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna review this baby this Christmas, guys. Pray for me, or whatever you do. As as good as Lawrence Arabia is it as good as Santa with muscles? Because this movie has Hulk Hogan, Robin Curtis from Star Trek fame, she was Savak, Garrett Morse from SNL, Ed Begley Jr. Oh, dude, this really, this is like not as good. Well, this is right up there with Mr. Nanny as being like one of those cringe-inducing films. But it is hilarious. I get a kick out of this film. And I got one book, which is probably not going to interest anybody but me, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. It's a tooth fairy of its day. Perfect allegory. I bought Doctor Who, The Doctors, Lives and Times. Yep, it's Hulk Hogan, man. And this, although we see like Matt Smith on the front, we got all the original old school doctors in here. I was super excited to get this book. I paid like, I think $2 for it. But I would have gladly paid more. Are you serious? So,
Hey, Aaron.
I said it because, oh, you got to catch some of the Doctor Who, especially the classic Bakers. And it's a perfect time, dude. It's a perfect time to start. They're putting them out like series at a time. This like series 7 and series 14 are out, or I guess season 1 of Tom Baker, they put it in North America, and season 7 of Tom Baker, and then season 1 of Peter Davison, and the season 4, which is series 10 of John Pertwee, and coming out soon is series 23, which is the second season of Colin Baker, or Trial of a Time Lord. Pertwee's a fantastic start, especially if you like action, more action-oriented Doctor Who. Depends. Your sister-in-law probably is. I'm gonna guess your sister-in-law is probably watching the new Doctor Who. So the new Doctor Who started in 2005. You got one season of Christopher Eccleston, and then you go into like around 3 of David Tennant, and then you get into Matt Smith, that goes on for another 2 or 3, another 3 I think, and then Peter Capaldi is on there for a couple, and there's Jodie Whittaker, and whoever's next. But if she's talking classic, the best stories, in my not so humble opinion, are probably around the I like the Tom Baker era, and when Robert Holmes was the writer. It was the head writer, and Philip Hinchcliffe was the producer. It's called the Holmes Hinchcliffe era, and it deals a lot with gothic horror and kind of a hammer like in darker oriented storylines. Perfect. That's my favorite era of Doctor Who. Now that being said, I'm a big like Whovian fan. Like for New Who, Warlock's exactly right. Definitely Eccleston. But if you want to get into what I consider some of the best writing at Doctor Who and see some like the best stories, it's start with Tom Baker's first season, which is has some of the best stories, line writing throughout all of Doctor Who. with Genesis of the Daleks, and you get stuff like in later things like Pyramids of Mars, which I think still works today. Pyramids of Mars and a good story still works no matter what era it's done in. You can't have times when I like Peter. Let's say I like Peter Davison. I like Colin Baker. I thought Colin Baker got screwed over by Eric Seward, but I like Colin Baker as well, and I like Sylvester McCoy, especially after Cartmel took over. She watched for many decades. Then for sure, Pertwee, Tom Baker. I suggest Tom Baker, but if you like action oriented, Doctor Who, John Pertwee, who was the Doctor before Tom Baker, he does a lot of action oriented stuff. Like he's stranded on Earth, right? In his for most of the time that he's the Doctor, so he gets a lot of vehicles and hovercrafts and cars, and he does like kung fu. I almost met Colin Baker, but we moved out of town before he came. I did meet one of the companions though. I met Fraser Hines, who played Jamie McKinnon. That's with who was with Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor. So I've met Fraser Hines, but I haven't met any of the other ones. Now I did meet a guy that was a huge Whovian fan, and I bought a lot of his collection. And so I've got like autographs from everybody from the beginning of the series on up to Tom Baker and on up, like even some people that are now passed away. So guy played Ian and William Russell, stuff like that. I think Troughton is one of those guys that there's not enough stories, unfortunately. So many are lost. But Troughton is one of the most influential doctors of all time. If you look at Matt Smith, that's Troughton. Like he loves Troughton. You can see it. If you look at David Tennant, he's doing Peter Davison. But I don't think anybody can do Tom Baker. I don't think anybody can come in and say, no, I'm going to do a Doctor Who like Tom Baker. No, you're going to try, but no, Tom Baker is unique. The best way for people that have never ever seen Doctor Who in their lives, and the best way to explain the character, as in what it's like to see a doctor, is that everybody that goes in to play the role, one of the first things that you learn is your Doctor Who isn't basically just lines on a paper. What you're going to do is you're going to take your own personality, every quirk that you got in your personality, and you're going to turn that up to 11. And that's where your Doctor's going to come from. With Titanic and Doctor Who story. I don't know if that was it. I know that they're in the newer series. They had a spaceship Titanic that was called Titanic because I know Kylie Minogue was in that episode. And the space. Remember that one, Kylie Minogue? The gorgeous Kylie Minogue. On the Google Doc list. Man, I remember Locomotion when it came out when I was a kid. She was so cute. Hey, Cinematech, welcome, dude. It has been an exciting episode tonight, I have to say. Some ups and downs, but it's been pretty cool. It's a cool group of people there. Doctor Who is on BBC. But here, like I'm in Canada, so we get it on the Space Channel, and I think probably if you're in the U.S., then it's probably on Sci-Fi or a channel like that, or probably BBC America. Actually, probably BBC America in the U.S. Is where you're going to see Doctor Who. But I think it's on BBC One in Britain. I'm not sure, but I think it's BBC One. I always wondered, actually, if Sean Pertwee would ever do anything on has Eddie ever been asked about it? You used to be on BBC, okay? Because I don't know the different BBCs because I really don't. I know that they're numbered. He'd be one kick. He wouldn't be one kick butt doctor. I don't know that much. He's because that he'd be like Pert. Yeah, okay. Sean Pertwee would be like John Pertwee in that he would be a doctor that could kick butt type of thing. It's like he looks like he's a guy that can handle himself. And I guess in a lot of the films that like Sean Pertwee have done and like the TV shows like Gotham and stuff like that, he comes across as a bit of a tough character. I'm not sure, like maybe in real life he's not at all, and he's just a really good actor. Yep, that is Tom Baker as he's the bad guy in one of the Sinbad films. He's a very quirky actor. He played Rasputin before, but yeah, Sean Pertwee does look like a boxer. He looks like I've come across guys like that from some areas that I used to live. Um, you didn't like season 5? Oh, I liked her as Catwoman. She was good. It was the same girl as Catwoman in the other 4 seasons. No, no, and Hammer Rasputin was Christopher Lee. He played Tom Baker played Rasputin in Nicholas and Alexander, which was I think a TV miniseries, and he was like really he got a lot of like acclaim for it. Like Christopher Lee's in the Hammer one, but Tom Baker does it in Nicholas and Alexander. If you're a horror fan, you probably saw Tom Baker in in the in Vault of Horror, actually, because he's the painter in one of my favorites like segments of Vault of Horror. So that's Tom Baker, so the painter that uses voodoo. He does act still. He's older. Tom Baker is now in his 70s, I think. And if you watch if you got any of those Blu-ray sets, one of the best things that they do is they have people like from the show sit on a couch, couple on the sofa, and watch the show and like make comments, and it is hilarious. Uh, and Tom Baker is one of the people. He's such a tall man. You've got to wonder what happened. You don't know exactly what happened to Tom Baker. You just know that the first Dungeons and Dragons movie. I don't know if I know I've seen it. I should have known that. Did you go to San Diego Comic Con? Dude, you're lucky if you did. Uh, Season one's a bit slow. Are we talking about Gotham? Yeah, if you're talking about Gotham, you're right. Uh, because I love that ending. I don't want to give away the ending to that Vault of Horror episode, but it's really, really good. Yeah, it definitely gets better. I think Jeremy Velasquez is when it gets when the show like really starts hitting its peak. But my favorite, no, there's good episodes in the first season. The first 5 or 6 episodes, they kind of go up and down. Uh, but the best there's a thing, and it's in the first season of the show, when a character that you're probably not going to like in Gotham at the beginning, you're going to find this character really boring, is going to go through something. It is going to go through something, and it's going to be in a 2 arc episode, two episode arc, and it is going to completely change everything that you thought about the character, everything you thought you knew, you didn't. Uh, and it's going to become and this character is going to become, I'm willing to bet, one of your favorite characters on that show after this. It's really good. So definitely. Oh yeah, did you ever listen to the audio edition of it? I was working at a bank, and the I did a lot of like the early time, like counting the money, stuff like that, like getting deposits and that done. And I will listen to like audiobooks on my iPod, and I miss my iPod. And the and he tells the whole, he reads the whole thing, and he's very animated. So definitely worth checking. Definitely worth checking. If you ever find the audio edition, man, check it out. There is so much going on right now. San Diego Comic Con. This has been a big like week for me. If you guys like my videos, it's been a big week for my videos. The Hartnell Trout airs on Blu-ray, given that many episodes are lost. I kind of think they will. Uh, I like we've had a lot that have been animated now as well, and I don't want to get too. I don't want to dive too deep into it, but there's the reproductions and stuff that were done with a lot of the pictures and that. But yikes, how much choke there, guys? Uh, that would have made for a very popular video. Gone viral then. Uh, my iPod bricked, unfortunately. That's what happened with mine. I love my iPod. I used to love my iPod. I'll definitely buy another one down the road. Even though I got a phone and an iPad, I'd still love to have an iPod that I could just use totally for audio, like for podcasts and stuff like that. There's a lot, like I mean, like from the Trouton, William Hartnell, Patrick Trouton. I think Patrick Trouton has more missing episodes. Do you read many books? I do. Not as many as I should nowadays, but I do read a bit. I've taken up reading more recently, to be honest with you, than I have in a long time. I read a lot of nonfiction. I read a lot of mystery, like mystery novels, some spy novels. Comics, I read those too. Do read about, yeah. I love biographies. So I'm gonna get a burp here. Hold on a second. I haven't read Stanley's biography yet. Is it good? Like I've seen a lot of interviews with Stanley, and I got to meet him once. Uh, but rest in peace, Stan. Yeah, I've the last convention that I went to was in Ottawa, actually, Ottawa Comic Con. So that was like my Ottawa Comic Con's really good. Montreal's really good. I've never gotten to go to a Toronto Fan Expo, which is what I want to go to, because there's definitely a lot of people that I would love to see. That I would love to meet there. Like as in people, I mean like other YouTubers and stuff that are in the Toronto area that I'd probably like see at a convention like that. To read a lot of film books, I do try to read. I read a few. I mean, like I got a few different ones. I got Justin Curwell, Troy Howarth, and like some of the older like Donald Spato's Alfred Hitchcock book. Um, God, there's a lot over the years. It depends on the era, but yeah. Now I'm trying to get back into it now. My dad has a lot of like biographies and like books, like really good books on cinema. I used to have a lot. One of my favorite reads, and it's not on film, but it was on like TV, and there was a book that was put out years ago called The Twilight Zone Companion, and it was a brilliant one. It was the most brilliant like book on a TV show that I've ever seen. It was so in depth. It was just so amazingly done. I recommend that anytime. I'm looking for Tarantino. Oh yes, so I've liked every Tarantino film I've seen, so I don't see me not liking this. Tarantino's the one thing that peeved me a bit recently is that apparently Tarantino got upset because Simon Pegg said, he said, no, Tarantino's going to do a good job. He said, but he's not going to make like it's not like he's making Pulp Fiction in space if he does a Star Trek movie. He's a fan. He's going to do a Star Trek movie. And so Tarantino said, Simon Pegg doesn't know what I'm making. I would totally make Pulp Fiction in space with a Star Trek movie because that's the type of thing that I do. And I was like, Tarantino, don't do that. I don't know. I don't know if I want to see Tarantino do Star Trek though. Like, I don't know if I want to see Pulp Fiction Space Man. Just, I just don't. I don't really think I do. But I do want to see his new movie. That I can tell you. What do we got here? I don't think I've seen that book, Brian. Actually, you're only going to go to the ones to the comic stuff you like, man. Like Rob's, it is an odd match. I know Arrow, Burt Ward. I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, Burt Ward is going to be the Arrow crossover. Uh, I would have loved to have seen, like, although I know it's a dream, it's not going to happen. Like Michael Keaton's Batman show up in Crisis on Infinite Earths. But I'm very excited I'm a comic geek, to know that Tom Cavanaugh is going to be Pariah in Crisis on Infinite Earths. So that's going to be interesting to see. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm kind of hoping we're going to get like the Psycho Pirate, and they kind of go into that as well. I'm not sure how deep they're going to go into Crisis. Obviously, it's going to be very different. Linda Carter was actually, she's gorgeous. She still could play Wonder Woman. She was on Supergirl as the president, actually, and she looked amazing. It's worth checking out. Crisis was really good. I'm just, I was trying to see your comments, and I gotta have this thing plugged in, unfortunately. I think you'll try. I think Batwoman's gonna be more fun than you realize. I think you might like it. But then again, every show's not for everybody. Um, I like the Batverse. Yeah, and I know the character well, so the character. The Batwoman character is really kick ass in the comics, and I hope they keep her that way in the series as well. Uh, I expect to be one of the more violent like CW shows, a little bit more, a little bit darker. But then again, that style is not for everybody. Some people are more like the Flash, right? Like they like the Flash, and it's more, it's lighter, but it's fun, and it's most of the time it's well written. On here, not just. Well, that's a different character. I think you're the Batgirl. See, is there's a Batwoman, which is a character who's been in the last 10 years, right? But Batgirl is like Barbara Gordon, and of course other people play Batgirl as well. But that's a completely different character. A lot of people like mix them up because of the Bat part of it. But Batgirl was like Commissioner Gordon's daughter, and then she became. I think Stephanie took over for a while. I think we're all bummed, but Swamp Thing cancellation. I think Warlock. There's one thing I think all comic fans can agree on. We're all bummed about the Swamp Thing cancellation. The only thing I'm hoping for is that maybe that that they'll do a that to do like maybe some films now. See that Target League Criterion Godzilla. If that leak is true, I can definitely see that being the 1,000th. If that's true, I'll definitely buy it. I'm a huge kaiju fan. I love Godzilla stuff, even the cheesy stuff. I'll even watch the little Godzilla Junior blowing smoke rings. Uh, yeah, I hope it goes towards films. I hope it's not. I really don't want Citizen Kane to be the number 1,000. I want it to be in Criterion, but I think that the 1,000th one needs to be like an epic, like a set, not a film. That's my thought. Gadzuki, he was in the cartoons too. Would you last comment? Oh, what is your last comment? What a Booster Gold series. They can still do it. I mean, like it's not something that they got to pass on. Uh, Obviously, there's more material that he would have went with the Batwoman. I guess for the to be honest with you, and it's like in the comics right now. They canceled Vertigo, right? The Vertigo line, which was the adult line of comics for like Sandman, Death, The High Cost of Living, all that type of stuff. Vamps all came out in Vertigo, and he canceled that to do the Black Label, which he said this is our adult comics. Now these are, don't worry, Vertigo fans, you've still got the Black Label, but the Black Label has been a lot of Batman titles. As much as I personally would love to see a Booster Gold series, something in the Batman universe is gonna be is just gonna get more viewers. So maybe down the road, but yeah, I understand why. If I was like a producer and like I had to choose, I said, oh, this is my kind of my pet project type of thing. But at a time when CW is losing Arrow, yeah, they got to put something in there that's gonna that's a sure bet. And as much as I love Booster Gold, it ain't a sure bet. Yeah, Superman Year One's what is Superman Year One? Frank Miller. That's Frank Miller, right? He's a weird dude. He's such a weird dude. I'm iffy on the first issue of Superman Year One. I read the first issue. It was an issue. It was Miller. I was like, this is kind of slow, but it's kind of interesting. And oh my God, they're almost raping Lana Lang. Yes, I'm reading Frank Miller. I know right now that I'm reading Frank Miller because it gets disturbing. That was in that issue. Batman Year One. I didn't even like his Batman Year One. I'm in the minority of that. Yeah, but because it's like, okay, you're doing Batman, and so what can we do with Batman Year One? Come on, Frank Miller, what do you got? Well, obviously he's going to be making mistakes and stuff like that. Yeah, you're right, Miller. That's a great idea. He's going to make mistakes, and obviously maybe he's going to use a gun. He's going to figure out that he shouldn't be using a gun. Yeah, maybe he'll use a gun, and maybe Catwoman's going to be a prostitute. Oh yeah, maybe. What? Oh, okay. Okay then. Because in Frank Miller comics, uh, you get a lot of that. and I don't know, Warlock. I see. I love Sin City. But here's my caveat. Did you see the Spirit? Because I saw the Spirit. Uh, it's a shame somebody isn't able to do more Sin City films. Uh, yeah, maybe we don't get Frank Miller to do any Sin City films because because I saw The Spirit. That was bad, man. That was they took a character that I love. Yeah, yeah, Frank Miller took a character that I love, and he yeah, yeah. As much as some people may be upset about like other characters, superheroes, uh, none of them, none of them is gonna be like as badly maligned as the Spirit was. When when the best version of your character is a really cheap TV film starring Sam Jones of Flash Gordon fame, you know your big budget film has somehow gone the wrong way. I did like The Shadow. I thought that Alec Baldwin was a great choice for The Shadow. I don't think everything worked about it, but I think they could have enjoyed. Could have gone farther with it. Did you like The Spirit? In it? I couldn't see. I'm a huge fan of the source material. Yes. Well, you know it's got to be, dude. You know which Batman is good, right? Because as Batman, you got to have some Keaton there and some Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy is the ultimate man. He just rocks. I could see them like with all the reboots and remakes and sequels and reimaginings that they're doing. Yeah, right on. I could really see like the Shadow being something. I'm really surprised nobody's like taken up the Shadow or the Phantom again, because those characters I think would work really. Uh, I don't know. I think Bruce. I don't think Bruce Wayne's a big fan of Batman. I mean, they're doing an animated year one. Did they do an animated year one yet, or they're doing one? Uh, well, the animated DC films have usually been pretty good. Uh, but then there's the Killing Joke, and the Killing Joke has sucked. Like not the comic. I love the comic, but the cartoon was horrible. I thought Billy Zane did a good job as the Phantom. And there was like a TV type thing where it was like kind of like a futuristic Phantom, which that was kind of cool. Was meant to be like a series type thing. It was like I think it was a mini series, ran 2 nights. Uh, but like in a long time, we haven't seen the Phantom in the in a long time. Are you serious? Congratulations, dude. Those are the type of yard sales I dream about. Uh, I haven't seen it. That totally slipped me past me by. No, I don't actually. Most people like The Dark Knight Returns, and people are really surprised when I say this because I'm a huge comic book fan. Actually, honestly, a lot of people are surprised that I'm a comic book fan uh, because they just see the films. But I am, and I did not like The Dark Knight Returns very much. I understand, like it's an important story, it's a good story. It just doesn't work for me. Uh, I'm not super uh, gritty, I guess, for some. I like some of the gritty, but I just Dark Knight Returns just didn't work for me. As I've never been a big Frank Miller fan. I honestly think that his best work was on Daredevil. Excuse me, oh, damn. I think his best work's on Daredevil, and I think even that, I think Ann Nesenti did a better job in Daredevil after he left. But she did like this really good Typhoid Mary storyline, stuff like that. But I think Daredevil was his best stuff. And after that, he had was up and down with what he did. Charles Bronson. I do remember seeing like in was in some magazines that I read or order me. Oh, it's okay, man. Like you're in the majority here. I'm definitely in the minority of not being a big fan of The Dark Knight Returns. Um, I definitely I don't think the anybody liked the sequel to Dark Knight Returns, but most people did like The Dark Knight Returns. What do they think the Batman series in the '60s? I kind of liked it. You could say I was a fan. Uh, yeah, over on that shelf over there, I got the Batman 60 series, the Batman animated series, and the Batman Beyond series. Uh, yeah, Bronson would have been a horrible choice for the Hulk. Oh, not at all. I'm not a huge fan of the Dark Knight movies. I mean, I like what Frank Miller did with some aspects of the films, but as anybody that watched my channel knows, I think Christian Bale was woefully miscast as Batman, and it hurt the films like significantly. But especially, yes, actually somebody just mentioned that 4K. My better half will be super stoked about that, and so would my daughter, who is a huge Godzilla fan. Uh, I see. I still can't see him as David Banner. I can't. I don't see like I can't see him doing it. I think the Kurosawa set, if it's not coming, and for the thousand, and I probably isn't right now, maybe, though I think we're going to get it. I do think we're going to get Kurosawa set. We could it could be something we get like around Christmas time. This could be outside of the numbering. Like Bergman was, like someone like mentioned to me that Bergman was outside of the numbering. Like there's no number for the Bergman set. Oh, the Akira Kurosawa set, which I do think is still coming, will be, I think will be like that. It'll be outside the numbering. Actually, there's a well, George Clooney may be your worst Batman, but for me, it's still Christian Bale. Um, at least George Clooney looked like Batman, right? Ben Affleck looks exactly like Batman from the animated series. If you watch the animated series and you look at the way Ben Affleck is as Batman, in Batman versus whether you like the films or not, he does a good job. Like and he looks like the and it had to be an obvious choice of that he looks like literally like he walked out of the Batman the animated series like TV show. My favorite Batman is right there. It's Michael Keaton. But just because I don't think anybody at this point, I think Gail Cameron did a good job too, but I don't think anybody at this point else has gotten that one thing that Keaton got that that nobody else got, and there's the psychology beyond uh, beyond Batman and Bruce Wayne. He under like I've seen actors that act Batman. I've seen actors that act Bruce Wayne. But for me, like personally, Keaton really does get it. He gets the he gets the duality, and both characters kind of guess what Keaton did wrong in Batman. Nothing in Batman. He did nothing wrong in Batman except have a suit where he couldn't move his head. And when you see Keaton as Bruce Wayne, uh, you can see you see within his character somebody that you can see putting on a bat suit and going out in the night and and attacking people or just or going after not attack going after criminals. Uh, there is mental instability within Bruce Wayne and Batman. But he wasn't the first film version. I mean, like Adam West is the first film version. Um, like, or do you mean like? Do you think that I like Keaton best from nostalgia reasons, like aspects of it? No, see, I don't stick nostalgia glasses on when it comes to film very much. He didn't dance like Adam West. There you go. He didn't do the Batusi. But this is what, and I'll tell you why. Um, that it just works for me better. It's just that Christian Bale didn't do Batman very well, and he did a decent job of Bruce Wayne, but I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. They're fun. I mean, they're a product of their time. Obviously, they're not the greatest Batman in the world, and the suits are kind of like different, and there's some questionable content in them that would definitely seem like super racist right now. Uh, but uh, but yeah, there was a like each Batman works in a bit for like in the time that frame that's in, but I think, and I'm going to agree with Ghostbuster guy here, Ghostbuster Man, and basically say that Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer have come the closest to portraying Batman and the struggles that between Bruce Wayne and Batman. They got it. They got the psychology of it. Uh, and that seemed to be lost in later stuff. Like George Clooney looks like Batman from the comic books, but obviously he's hampered by a horrible script and looks like he. It looks like when you see George Clooney in Batman and Robin, it looks like he signed on to do the movie before he read the script, and once he read the script, he just checked out. And he's like, "Yeah, let's let's do this film." It's like you're. I'm gonna play Bat. Are you serious? I'm gonna play Batman. I'm signing on. I'm signing on right now. I am playing Batman. I am doing this. Okay, I'm signing on. Now let's read the. Oh, good Lord. And then, then George Clooney said, yeah, basically, can I get out of this? Can I get out? This is horrible. Can I get out? You're signed on. You've signed up. You're doing this film. You're going to smile and like it. Oh, I'll smile, all right. I will smile all the way through Batman and Robin. That's what I would do. I will smile. And people know that I don't like doing this. Partially Joel Schumacher. Now Joel Schumacher can do dark films. This is a guy that did that that did stuff like eight millimeter. So it's not that Joel Schumacher couldn't do dark films. It's that one, the studio wanted toys, and two, Joel Schumacher's point of reference for Batman is was unfortunately right like really was the he did Last Bus too, yeah, um, and he did Flatliners, right? This is him that did Flatliners. Um, but uh, but yeah, he looks like he was going more towards the '60s type series stuff, um, and like he's like when people say, well, why did he choose Joel Schumacher as Batman? He can't do Batman. He could. I think if he was like given the right like without without so much studio interference, like Joel Schumacher will take all the credit for all the failure of the Batman films. If you listen to the commentaries, he takes the credit for all the failures for all the Batman films. But I don't think it was all his fault. I know, actually. Perfect casting. Can you think of anybody else better, like aside from the guy that played him aside from Robin Lord Taylor, that could do the Penguin and just look like the Penguin? Kind of guess your three favorite Batman films. I'm going to guess the '66 Batman. I'm going to guess Batman Returns, and I'm going to guess Batman Forever. If I was going to guess your three, unless you're going to go with the Dark Knight and like twist on me. Uh, when I was, I liked a lot of the Batman stuff. I was a big fan of Batman. I was a big fan of Batman Returns, and what I really liked about the film, well, I like Val Kilmer. He did a really kind of a dark, brooding like Batman, and I like the way that he did it. I like Nicole Kidman's character because I like Nicole Kidman as an actress, but she's kind of creepy when you think about like her obsession with Batman. It's like you almost think she's going to become some kind of like villain, and in some parts of the film, she's almost like a female version of Hugo Strange. But Jim Carrey, who I expected to be like completely like 1960s Batman villain over the top, actually does kind of a balanced portrayal of the Riddler, right? Um, because as over the top as he can get in points, when he does it, it makes sense. Hey, Dave, welcome. Um, the way that he does the Riddler, he can rein it in when he wants to. And oh, I was right then. But when he's the Riddler and he's a more flamboyant character that he is, he plays it and he plays the role well. Who doesn't work is Tommy Lee Jones. Okay, Tommy Lee Jones doesn't work in Batman Forever, and that's due to Tommy Lee Jones, like 110% due to Tommy Lee Jones being jealous of Jim Carrey, and that his kids really like Jim Carrey. That Full Moon Classics Volume 2. What is that? Is that something I missed out on? I'll check it out. I mean, I haven't checked it out online. Um, Thank you. Scarecrows. Oh, they picked a good actor. They just didn't use him right. I think Robin Pattinson is going to be a good choice for the role. I mean, I think what we got to do, Tommy, is we really got to separate like Twilight from everything else Robin Pattinson's done. He's a good indie actor, and he does have like that kind of look and the square jaw and stuff as like for the role of Batman. I can really see him doing the role. I mean, a lot of people. It's going to be like Keaton. When when I was younger and people it was announced that Michael Keaton was going to be playing Batman, right? People said Beetlejuice can't play Batman. What do you mean? He played Beetlejuice. He's a comedy actor. He can't do Batman. Um, uh, and we're getting the same thing with Robert Pattinson. We're getting like, hey, that's a sparkly vampire from Twilight. But he's done a lot. Like he's done a lot of other stuff. Tommy, like check out some of his other stuff aside from Twilight. There's like his filmography is actually pretty good. A lot of independent films. A lot of um, like he definitely plays a darker character. Nobody's more. I know he laughed all the way to the bank, but nobody is more cringed about the Twilight series than Robin Pattinson is. Uh, there was a guy that really wanted to get out of a series. If you ever want to see a guy that wanted to get out of a franchise as quickly as humanly possible, that is Robin Pattinson. And just look at some of the interviews that I did during Twilight. He was mortified. Yeah. Oh, the Cronenberg one's a good one to watch. I like the diner scene, the dinner scene, because it it gets it. I mean, like obviously there's that quirky humor like aspect of it there, but it makes sense because he is, although he's this like he's Bruce Wayne and he's rich and all that. He's a guy whose parents died, who was raised by his butler, and his social interactions uh, would be different. And like if and he spent so much time like training to be Batman, and that he missed out on a lot of things, and that aspect of the film really plays it. I mean, because he's on one side, she's on the other side, um, and there's no connection there. Like he can't connect, and so basically, this is kind of silly. I usually eat with my butler in the kitchen, and then it kind of opens up his character. Yeah, I wish I wasn't Red Dark Force actually, man. But sadly, they shouldn't have killed Superman yet. Like Batman vs Superman should have been a Batman vs Superman movie, and then Superman Doomsday that should have been a movie all on its own. Man, they should have done their own thing. They just like put two movies, to like too many movies in one. They were like throwing things. It's like it's my spaghetti done. You throw it at the wall, right, and you see if it sticks or not. Batman vs Superman is one of those like is the spaghetti done? Is this spaghetti done? Type of thing, type of film. That's the way that I take that film. I know it's a bit of I really hope so. I mean, I hope they listen to the fans. I think See, I had fun with Batman vs Superman. I think Wonder Woman's the best part of it though, and I do like. I don't. I know a lot of people are going to hate on me for this. I did like Ben Affleck, but you know, Doomsday was horribly rendered, and Shazam is fun. I mean, Shazam is a fun. Like it's going to be a bit dark. I'll tell you. Shazam looks like it's just like a fun light thing, but there's some darkness to Shazam. Um, but it's not originally a DC character actually. Shazam was owned by Fawcett Comics. It was kind of like their own kind of Superman type of thing. They lost the lawsuit, and they had to stop doing Shazam basically. And what ended up, much like in the way the WWF ended up buying WCW, which was their competition, DC bought Fawcett Comics characters like Shazam, which was their competition. They ran them under and they bought it. I haven't finished the Krypton series yet, but what I've seen of it, I really liked. I like Adam Strange. I liked the take on that. I really didn't think I was going to like you, but I actually really enjoyed it. Well, not the original Captain Marvel, actually. People think that, but there was other Captain Marvels before that. But he was named Captain Marvel before, like the 4 or 5 characters in Marvel were named Captain Marvel. There was a Captain Marvel at one point, guys, that's literally could like split like parts of their body off and reform them. Scream, yeah, definitely. I mean, like I'm excited about like the about the Scream titles. It's different. I don't go into Gotham expecting Batman. Understand it's called Gotham for a reason. Gotham is the main character of the show. Like people went into expecting Batman, they went expecting Jim Gordon series. Gotham is the character. Uh, Gotham's the main character of Gotham, and you got Jim Gordon. You got in my opinion, my not so humble opinion, because I'm never humble enough, and if that wasn't apparent, and you watched the beginning of this video where I was a bit of an ass, that can prove that sometimes I need to be humbled. Uh, they I think that one of the best portrayals of Bruce Wayne that I've ever seen. Actually, no, the best portrayal of Bruce Wayne, that includes Michael Keaton, that I've ever seen. Of Bruce Wayne, remember, I'm not saying Bruce Wayne Batman, just Bruce Wayne, is the actor in the series Gotham. Like he's a kid when he starts, and he grows with that role, and that role does grow. So it's really good to be able to see that, and it's not like Smallville where you're seeing all these little like he's wearing black all the time, or well, he's wearing black all the time, but it's not like oh this he's gonna become Batman because this and this. Season 2 is good. Season 2 is really good. There at the beginning of the series, Superman is a good character. It's just the creative team behind it. That's the thing. Superman, you got to have the right creative team. Any character can suck with the wrong creative team. Batman sucked with the wrong creative team. Uh, but with the right creative team, you can be brilliant. I think any character can be rescued with the right creative team. Somebody mentioned Moon Knight before. Moon Knight is one of my favorite characters. Uh, and I love the fact that here's this Batman-esque character with dissociative identity disorder. Um, and that's the way I want them to go with that character. That he is split into all these different people. He plays like he's a rich guy, he's a cab driver, he's Moon Knight. Ooh, I like that. I did not know that, Indy. Because I know that they were going to, and there was some issues originally. But if they're doing that now, that is awesome. I want to see a Moon Knight film. I really do. I want to see a Moon Knight film. I hope they cast it well. I hope they put a lot of money into it. I would love to see a Moon Knight film. Brandon Routh was perfect in the role. He just had a bad script, but I think it was a great job in the role. Like did a great job in the role. Superman 1 and 2 are fantastic films. I like Superman 2 better than Superman 1. I'm probably in a minority on that one, but I just like the fact that he had like supervillains and stuff. I like that. Exactly, Warlock. He doesn't even know if he's in control, when he's in control. I haven't seen Brightburn yet. That's one that I do want to see. I've heard like mixed reviews on it, but I try not to let any review affect me until I actually watch it myself. That's why you got your Batman films because you don't because you don't like them. You got Batman. See, there that's it's like I said before. Uh, actually the Lester cut better than the Donner cut because I like uh, I prefer the original cut that I saw, the theater cut, and I like I like Lara as opposed to Marlon Brando coming back in. I like Man of Steel too. I just find that it on rewatches it doesn't work as well for me. But then again, I could be alone on that. And like I always like after this video, like I always say, if a movie series or a comic book or a TV show or whatever stops becoming fun for you at a certain point and you feel like you don't want to watch it anymore, you choose the place when it was last really good for you. That's your and in your head canon, that's where it ends. That if oh that had a good ending, let's I think I'll keep it there. Everything else, you know, doesn't matter. I like Smallville. I really did like Smallville. I was a huge fan of that series. I had a big crush on Chloe. Chloe? It was Chloe, right? Yeah, it's Chloe. Um, I know. Like, I know what you're all going to say. You're going to say the cult and all that type of thing. Um, is it horrible to say that that I said I would have joined that cult if I would have got to meet her? That might be horrible to say, but back when I was watching Smallville, if somebody told me she's in a cult, I'm like, where do I join? So yeah, leave the darkness for. Yeah, that's one that's I do. I think I can be. You guys can tell me other minute. I think she did, and she did do stuff. But I do think that like any of the other like cult members, uh, no, because I was dumped. Like, you want to know something, Ghostbuster man? At the beginning of this video, I said that like we're talking about the Thor becoming female. I said it's one of my favorite like storylines within that thing, and I said it'll get if people don't want to see it, that'll get rid of like people that aren't good comic book fans, and that was me being a dick, being 100% wrong, being a dick, thinking, oh, I know the comic book, uh, you know, my fandom is better than that, gatekeeping per se. So I was wrong. You me, somebody not liking the female Thor, somebody not liking Black Panther because he just don't like Black Panther. Um, that doesn't mean you're you're wrong, you're bad, or you're racist. It could just mean you just don't like the character, you just don't like the film. Um, and that's it's okay not to like something. It's okay to have different opinions. That's fine. Um, it's not okay for me to say you're not a good fan because you don't like this here, or for that person to call you a racist just because you didn't like the film. Um, we get so caught up, and I did this earlier myself. In do I think he's guilty? uh, we get so caught up in like in our own like little boxes and stuff like that that we just put people in. We just quickly put people in these little boxes sometimes, and and it's wrong, and we can't get anywhere. Uh, I'm not going to get political on that, but we can't get anywhere. I don't care what side you're on or what your opinion on a movie or anything like that is. If you can't listen and talk to the other person and have a difference of opinion, just debate it and have fun with it. We don't have to agree on stuff as long as we don't hurt anybody else. That's the thing. I'm saying this, Javid. I'm saying this. Um, exactly. If if I don't like it, that's okay. If you like it, that's okay. And I learned that today better than ever from talking on here with all you guys. So I am far from infallible. Uh, I will make mistakes on here regular, but that's okay because. But there you go. That's my thoughts on it anyway. I like Black Panther. That was really cool. But not liking this. That's if it. Here's the thing. It may not work for you. You may just not like the film. The film may not speak to you. There's certain movies that just didn't speak to me. If I don't like Godfather 3, it doesn't mean that that I don't like the Mafia. I don't know. It just means I didn't like Godfather 3. I did kind of. It wasn't a very good movie, but I enjoyed what it was. I think I'm like Superman, not in the strong part, as in the sometimes overly optimistic Boy Scout personality. Which I do apologize for, but there's portions of it I can get the. Oh, the roast. They still do the roast, don't they? Like they used to. Like I remember, like they did like the roast of different people. Like not as good as the Dean Martin ones. Like those were really cool. With Don Rickles and those guys in there, Joey Bishop and all those people. My favorite Godfather wasn't in a theater. It was on TV, I think. It was in. I know it was in. I used to go to Blockbuster, right? And they took Godfather like one and two, and they put them together, and they made like a chronological version of Godfather, and that was my favorite. Yeah, I like Spider-Man 3 too. Uh, I don't think a film can be overrated. Uh, that's the thing. You think a film can be? You might be right. Godfather Epic. I think that's that. I think you're right. And I like that. That's my favorite version. It's not wasn't in the theater, but it was a completely different cut. Uh, you think films can be underrated and overrated? Yeah, yeah, you're right. Okay. See, the one thing I will always do. Uh, I get something wrong, dude. First person to say that that'd be me. I do think we get 4Ks of Godfather. I think that's inevitable. I think there's a lot of 4Ks coming. I hope they're well done. I hope they're done like Grease was done. To splice together. That's the one I like. I mean, like because they do it chronologically, right? That is really cool. Um, they're gonna remake them, dude. They are. It's gonna happen sooner or later. As like they've already tried to do Back to the Future, uh, but and it didn't work. I don't know if it'll work. Like but eventually. Uh, they're doing everything. Carlito's Way will be remade one of these days. So it's just an inevitability of right now. But remember, if they remake it and it's great, fantastic. If they remake it and it's no good, you know what? The first one still exists. You're okay. Star Wars, inevitably, maybe. I don't know. With Star Wars, they're getting so much out of it. Like right now, like they can keep going for a long time without ever having to remake it because this whole universe. There's the thing. It's like the, when it comes to remakes and reboots and stuff like that. Uh, I understand when especially with horror films, like why you get like so many reboots, remakes, because you get a storyline and there's only so far you can stretch it before you got to go back to that well, start over, kind of change it a bit so you can kind of branch it out a bit more. When it comes to things like Star Wars and like kind of like sci-fi and fantasy, a lot of those have like these sprawling like universes and worlds that they can work with, so that you don't really need to go back and remake it. All they really need to do is like make something within that world. Um, I think that Back to the Future, something like that, should stick with what it is. And I thought it was awesome. I love all three of them. But if they were to make a new one, the those first three are still my trilogy, man. It's all about headcanon, guys. If we learn nothing else today, we learned that's all about the headcanon. Exactly. Scarface, classic film with Al Pacino, real remake of a classic movie with Paul Muni and Boris Karloff. Now, what about Back to the Future? Well, that's the thing. Everybody's got stuff that they like. You might not like Back to the Future, but you might have a different franchise that you like. That's really good, huh? I think that Rian Johnson he's done a lot of good stuff. Like people like don't like his Last Jedi. I completely understand that. But he's done a lot of good stuff. I think Rian Johnson is gonna work uh, outside, better outside of like the franchise as that's right now. I think yeah, exactly. So I think Rian Johnson could do great stuff with Star Wars, the universe, outside of what we're seeing, outside of the stuff we're seeing right now. So if you don't like the Last Jedi, I don't think that's going to be indicative of what he does like with another trilogy, because this trilogy isn't going to be like entrancing on any of the characters that you like. It's going to be new characters that he's doing, or characters that were taken from like a different source material. And I think that that's something that Rian Johnson could work a lot better with. He definitely wasn't a crowd pleaser. I just personally liked it. Pretty much. I mean, Lewis, the only one that I can think of that I'm not gonna that I won't pick up right away is I probably won't get Big Trouble in Little China, but only because I got the Arrow edition of it. I got a really good edition of it. But if they put like some really tempting features, who knows? And I don't really need. Uh, I don't know. That's probably the only one really. I said on here before. I know that Road Games is an automatic for me. John Badham's Dracula is an automatic for me. Um, there, I'm super excited about the prophecy. Uh, See now there, Zombie just says it's gonna be their best one ever. Pet Cemetery 2, yeah, Body Parts. I just hope Body Parts is going to be is going to be uncut, because we got it cut already. My Bloody Valentine, of course, you guys know I live here. Uh, I live in next to Sydney Mines, so I live next to Valentine's Bluff, where My Bloody Valentine was filmed, the original film. So obviously that's going to be a big one for me. I actually like tweeted, "Oh, you're bad man." uh, uh, I actually tweeted like Scream Factory and said, "Hey, I live 5 minutes away from Sydney Mines, which is Valentine's Bluff, which is where they filmed My Bloody Valentine. If you want some footage of Sydney Mines now, I can go get it." See, this is my chance to do my dream of getting on a Blu-ray feature at, which is a dream of mine. Not gonna lie to you. Anyway, guys, at 174 minutes, I'm just going to let that sink in for a minute. At 175 minutes now, almost the length of the Ulysses cut of Waterworld, which I think is 176. Uh, I am unfortunately going to have to end this right now. He better not beat me on that one. Uh, I'll kick Sean Carson. No, I won't. He does great stuff with the horse holograms. But thank you so much for coming in today. I'm sorry we got off to a bit of a rocky start. I did apologize for that afterwards, and I'm just really glad that we got off to a rocky start so that I could have something to do, and I needed that. Thank you, Warlock. Thank you, Livens. I learned stuff today. Have a great evening. I am Aaron. You are the movie club. I can't do 180 because my voice is gone. And you guys rock. We got to 176. It's pretty good. Tell you what, one of these days, 180 or bust, right? We'll do it. I'll see you soon.